Hey, Eugene, can you hear us?
Now I can,
Okay.
and I can see everybody too.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
We've lost Mr. Nemick.
Here he is.
There he is. Okay. We got everybody? Is Joe with us now? John?
Still the L there.
Still no Joe?
He's there.
I don't see him.
That's him.
Looks like a test signal.
It's his new background.
It's his new logo.
Oh, that's a sunset in
Yeah.
Alaska?
Yeah.
The only thing is, he's only done one. Yeah, I know. Okay, I've got 7:30, call the meeting to order, pledge of allegiance.
John, I can't, hang on, what the fuck?
Okay. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please. Mr. Moreno.
Here.
Mr. Dadley. Mr. Harney.
Here.
Mr. Thorne.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Nimitz.
I don't know, can you hear me? It's
Yes, we can.
effed up on this end, hang on.
Well, we can hear you. So we're gonna-
Okay, let me see if I can figure it out. John, did you do something or?
We restarted.
Okay,
Eugene, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Okay, according to the gubernatorial proclamation, the pandemic disaster has been extended to December 11th, allowing us to have remote attendance at the meeting. This evening, in person in Village Hall, we have trustee Moreno, Harney, Hoffman, Thorne, myself, the village clerk, Mills. Attending remotely is the finance director, Eugene Van, and trustee Nemec. Okay. We've got this, as I said, until December 11th. The next meeting will be remote also. Okay, that's good. Done. Minutes, approval of the minutes of November 1st, 2021.
I'll move that. Second.
Moved with by Hoffman, seconded by Harney to approve the minutes of November 1st, 2021. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
There's just a typo in, let's see if I can find it again. It's the, under old business, the second paragraph, it talks about we did resolution 540, federal resolution endorsing the 2021 set of climate, it's spelled CLAMATE action plan, so that's misspelled.
I will fire a spell check on Microsoft Word tonight. Claim it. Thank you. Subject to
That's
that,
all.
subject to that typo.
Subject to that
To that
typo.
typo.
Everything else is good.
Okay. Because this is a remote meeting, all votes will be by roll call. So roll call, please. Mr. Hoffman.
Aye.
Mr. Harney. Aye. Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
hi.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. Okay, president's report, quiet night, I have no report, clerk's report. Continue to be quiet, I have no report either. Okay, planning and zoning, we're gonna keep it quiet, there's no report from P and Z. Attorney, got anything from the attorney? Next meeting, we'll hear from the attorney, quiet report. Engineer, there we go, we're gonna break the tie. Engineers report. We've got a request for approval of a permit for Comcast with a replacement of some 750 feet of line over in Sycamore area off of Locust. We have a motion to so approve.
So moved.
Second, Moreno.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Moreno to approve the Comcast permit JB 813085 for 757 Sycamore. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. For the engineers report, finance. Mr. Van.
I request the approval of the warrants in the amount of $134,824.29.
Second, Moreno, or so moved, Moreno.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Moreno, seconded by Hoffman to approve the warrants of November 15, 2021 in the amount of $134,824.29. Any additions, deletions, comments, or questions? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so passes. Anything else, Eugene?
Yes, under the finance, we'll have to do the tax levy, but I just want to explain what's going on. We have to announce the tax levy and what the amount will be, and then record it in our minutes. And then we have to wait at least 20 days before we can vote on it. So today, we're just getting it into the minutes, and then we can vote on it on the December 6th meeting.
Okay.
So I will defer the actual putting that in to trustee Hoffman under the finance. So other than that, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. Comments from the public? Have anyone signed up this evening?
I'm it.
You're in.
My name is Glad Bow. I live up on Hilltop Court
Okay,
near you, Steve. And I've been there about 35 years. And I'm here to put
kids
my,
used to deliver the newspaper.
yes, they did. Yes, I was, you were a customer, I know. And I would just like to add my 2 cents to the comments on speeding. It's Joy Lane and Hilltop Lane especially, and primarily during rush hour traffic, are terrible. Very fast speeders. And I would just like to see if the police could add us to their list of locusts and so forth, and see if we can continue to communicate with the trustees and see if there isn't something we can do to either get rid of some of the traffic or get them to slow down. And I'm happy to do whatever I can to help that process happen. So thank you very much.
Sure thing. You join a list of many others that have, voiced their concerns.
Right.
And I think it's not just any one particular area. It's
I know.
all over the village.
I know.
I do know that they're watching that Joy and Hilltop section.
You what?
I know they're watching Joy and Hilltop.
And Hilltop, good,
I saw the flashing lights there twice this past week.
good,
So,
wonderful. I was visiting some neighbors who said the kid, and he's young, that drives a small red car was stopped and either ticketed or warned. But then I just saw him again last week, just speeding, and maybe he needs a ticket this time.
Can that be arranged?
Should we talk to the police? I mean, should I talk to the police about this, or,
That would be, let the chief know,
okay,
where you live and your concerns and some of those
Right.
things. Yeah. No,
all right,
Chief Parma would be more than willing to take your phone call.
great, thank you.
He does happen to be on vacation this week, so he won't be back in until next week.
Okay.
But you
okay.
can always leave a message with his sidekick, the sergeant. Who's slipping over there on the side trying to be incognito. All right, anything else, Ms. Bell? All right, thank you. Trustees reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
Nothing new to report, but I'll make a comment regarding your concern. We have ordered approximately 15 new signs that are going to be put up around the village, children to play, etc. The locations in that haven't been finalized, but you'll see them pretty quickly.
Okay, okay. And I saw that somebody suggested, I know we're not supposed to discuss, signs that would indicate local traffic only between certain hours. And I thought, since most of the traffic that they said other communities are doing it too, that it's local traffic only between, say, 7 and 9 in the morning and 4 and 6 in the afternoon, you know, primary rush hour traffic for people coming in through here. And I'm retired now, but when I was working, they would come up Crane Drive fast in the morning, up Beau Brummel fast in the morning. It was just, especially since we've had that entrance onto Randall Road. People love us.
Okay. Onto that, we did have authorized the expenditure of some $1,400 on those signs. So they are in stock.
Yep.
Will be placed shortly. Okay, anything else then?
No, nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Finance, Mr. Hoffman.
Okay, a little bit to talk about tonight. It's been quiet the last couple, but we had the first meeting since June of 2020 for the Finance Committee, and consisting of, we remember Catherine Marinowski, and she does have experience in municipal P&L and finance. So a definite, positive addition to the committee. And in attendance were Catherine, as a member of the committee, and myself, George Hoffman, and then 2 others, Eugene Vance, Director of Finance, and Mr. Pickett, President Pickett was at the meeting. And this was on November 9th, last Tuesday, that we met, and we did cover a number of items. We went over the minutes from the last meeting in February. Not much, I wasn't here then, but I mean, there's really not a lot to go over. And then we progressed into the audit review, which was just completed for the village, the audit review. And in a nutshell, it came out very well. Director Vance, did review it. Well, we both did with the audit team, and we received a clean report. There was a notation about a $25,000 adjustment that is going to be, right? Eugene, has it been made or it will be made?
It will be made. I haven't read the final report yet. He just sent it to me later this evening, and I have not had a chance to open it up.
And it was April 21 to the sewer general ledger account. They accepted the explanation that it was an incorrect ledger, that the balance was too high, and until this year, the adjustment had been calculated incorrectly, and that is going to be taken care of. Eugene will take care of that, as he just said. But that was the only infraction that they found, so we came through with flying colors in a nutshell. So we got that behind us. And if I'm correct, it was published, correct, Eugene?
No, we haven't quite done that yet, but they will come and present at the December 6th meeting.
Okay. All right, and then we then went into review of the September revenue and expenses, being that I'm relatively new to the position still too, and delving into, I think I've told you in past meetings, I had a lot of questions for Eugene. I've had a lot of questions related to, expenses, where they go, the accounts that they are posted to, just a number of billings that are not inaccurate, but seem to be inconsistent. They seem to be inconsistent or unpredictable where they're going into an account. And I asked if we could clean that up. So going forward, we'd have a much clearer picture of all the components, all the expenses, the revenue, et cetera, instead of seeing some benefits show up with water and sewer or whatever. So Eugene and I have talked about that. We talked to Christine about that, and that is something we're going to start to delve into, as you know, both Eugene and I have gotten our feet wet with this. And as I look at all the, journals every 2 weeks when I go in and review them and approve them, I just have questions with various components. So I'm sure I'm still going to have that till I get more acclimated to it. But it doesn't hurt to ask questions about expenses or billings and why we doing this and, whatever. So it's just part of who I am. So continue to ask. Eugene, did I miss anything there?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. And again, as part of that, it was recommended as part of the meeting that the journal entries be reasonably related to each other instead of having a variety of different, expenses components lumped into one. So we'll start to see that change hopefully in the future where we can clean it up. But I guess it's been done that way for 30 years and doesn't hurt to change. Change is good. Okay, fiscal year, we then went into fiscal year 2023 drafting of the budget. This process hasn't started yet, but will start in late January, early February. We'll put together the budget. Eugene will work with it and put it together. It'll then be reviewed by the Finance Committee. And when I say Finance Committee, we are looking for volunteers to participate on the committee. We currently have one individual and myself. And President Pickett, what are we looking at? Maybe additional, we could use 2, 3, 4 other people,
We could go up to 7, yes.
even to the public. It's open for volunteers. So once we have that, the Finance Committee deadline is the 3rd Monday in April for, am I correct, Eugene, finalizing it?
Yes.
So hopefully we'll have a lot more information on that going forward. Any questions with the fiscal draft? Okay, the tax levy. The amount of $863,400 will be entered into the minutes tonight. Will be for the tax levy for the 2021 tax levy. And that amount is 2.2% over last year's extension and the CPI, but below the 5% level that we could raise it to, or it could be raised to. If you go over 5%, correct me if I'm wrong, Eugene, it has to go to a public meeting.
Right. We would have to publish it and have a public hearing before we could raise it.
Okay, so we're looking at the amount of 2.2% above last year's extension, and but again below the 5% that would be authorized or that we could go to at this point. At this point, it will increase the tax burden on the average household in the village, $10 per year. So we're talking nothing. And a lot of that is, the village has done very well managing the budget, especially managing expenses with COVID. There's been, looking at the I call them P&Ls, but looking at the budgets and the revenue, for what we have to work with, I've said this before, they've done exceptionally well with the funds that we have. And again, knowing that we're not a Elgin, we're not a West Dundee, we're not an East Dundee, we're not a Schaumburg. So with that, they've done very well. And I figure a $10, per typical household is almost nothing compared to where inflation's going today. And if I'm correct, I think inflation right now is about 6%, isn't it? 6.1% year to date. So well within range. So, and then the ordinance vote would then be held December the 6th. So we will vote tonight for the 2.2% increase. And then on December the 6th, the vote will be held and December 6th with the filing by the last Tuesday, if I'm correct, in December. And part of the reason our tax base is decreasing too, one of the reasons it decreased, we lost the parcel of land across from Randall Road, which was Randy's. And with that, we lost some revenue with that. Sales tax revenue, et cetera, but that was reverted back to Elgin. So any questions with that?
I also would like to mention that just because we're asking for this amount doesn't mean we're getting this amount. We traditionally get less than what we ask for, but it's reasonably close to what we should get.
And the other was insurance renewals. Everybody's going through insurance renewals right now. With Medicare, with employers everywhere. So we're no different with it here. But there is a 12.9% increase for non-union health insurance. We have not received the union quotes yet. Other insurance renewals should be flat or a slight increase. And if you look at pretty much the industry across the board, you're seeing that, in a lot of areas. So, and that's just a part of doing business as we looked at it. And Eugene and I did look at competition. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eugene. And when we looked at three of the competition, two were significantly higher in costs. One was lower, but not by much, but it raised the deductibles significantly on each of the individual employees. So we agreed to stay where we are. Any questions with that?
Just one more time for the record, the amount that the levy will be is $863,400.
$400.
$863 and $400. Okay.
There were no public comments at the meeting. There was no old business and new business going forward. There was none except for scheduling of some dedicated finance committee meetings for the next, we're going to schedule out probably 6 months or a year so we can have a definitive calendar of meeting. And I came up with 5 dates that I will post and work with Christine to make sure that she can be present, and hopefully we can get some additional volunteers that will volunteer for the finance committee. And at that point, we adjourned. Any questions? President Pickett, do we vote on that now?
No, we just have to put it in the minutes.
In a minute?
It's one of those, we have to put it in the minutes and then we have to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then we can vote and then we have to have it filed before the end of the year.
Okay. Any questions?
All right, thank you, George. Next one is water and sewer. Mr. Nemec.
I do have a couple things. Kyle had a visit from the IEPA, and the discussion was on backflow prevention. Last time they were in, we had no ordinance for backflow prevention. That was corrected by Mr. Seiler, but apparently we have not done a survey since the early 90s, and we were supposed to do that more frequently than that. ICCI is a person by our code, and we've tasked with taking care of backflow prevention, so I talked to Barb Detmer today. She is going to talk to her plumbing inspector, because they do this in several other spots. They're very familiar with this process, provide a survey to us. Wendy had checked with the company that does our water billing, and it's relatively cheap to send out an additional page in the flyer. So, but there is no rush on this as far as I know. So ICCI is spearheading this, and we'll get back to us on this. Also, you may have seen the email on the ordinance that Mark sent out. Barb Detmer also had commented on that, and we had a conversation this evening. She's also been working on some of these issues for a while now, but there are several items in the code for sewer, water, wells, and septic that are either outdated not correct for the way we do things or should do things, are contradictory to our own code and also are contradictory to state law. She is willing to do the work and prepare the corrected ordinances or the text for them for free, as long as you provide her with invoice of the time she spent. So I assume for accounting purposes. She estimates that it'd be about 10 hours, up to 10 hours of time at the most for attorney fees. So I would toss this to Eugene's corner now to see how the budget looks for 10 hours of legal time and it's got to be split between sewer, water, and I don't know, wells and septic. I guess that would I don't know if that's where that fits in there. So
We're already over budget.
What?
We're already over budget.
Okay, so so as I said, so we'll just maybe put a note to put that in the budget for next year because it's an item that probably needs to be done. So that's all I have. The other thing is I'd like to get together, and we've been playing email tag and possibly phone tag. If Mr. Hoffman, Eugene, and I can get together sometime early or next week and talk about how we'd like to proceed with funding sewer improvements over the next decade or so. We need to get Mr. Steele asked me how this is going, and he's kind of saying that some of the stuff we need to start working on at least the most urgent matters of this. So just give me a call tomorrow and set up a time or email, probably an hour in the afternoon, maybe.
I'm in Bloomington right now, and I will be for the rest of the week.
Okay, so next week sometime then, does that work for you?
Sure. Yeah.
George, does that work for you too sometime next week for an hour in the afternoon?
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday would be good.
I'll send an email out. George, does that work for you Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday would work.
Okay, I'll send an email out. Let's look for like Tuesday, like George or Eugene, anything bad in your time?
Tuesday should be okay.
Okay, I'll send an email out. We can all confirm it then. Sounds good. That's all I have unless there's any questions for me.
Any questions for Joe? No questions here, Joe. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, police and public safety, Mr. Diatley and Chief Parma are both absent this evening. The chief did provide his monthly reports for your pleasure reading. If there are any questions on that, we can take those and forward them to them. If not, the next one is public buildings and environment, Mr. Ford.
I have no report.
Thank you, Mark. Building and zoning, Mr. Moreno.
Barb Detmer at ICCI wrote an article for the next newsletter and just highlighted some general things about furnaces and chimneys and exterior and interior, just things that residents just should be aware of in general. The last paragraph, we just added the fact that, if any village residents have questions, they can reach me or Barb Detmer directly. Obviously, wintertime, you don't see much in permit requests, but the more we talk about, if people have questions before they start jobs, it's better to ask the questions first, then start the job, have questions about the permit after the fact. It'll help reduce issues of Barb having to shut down jobs and so forth based on what happens. And the people that live at, I always refer to those that live at Hollywood and Vine, if they're starting to, rip up lawns and doing different things, they're subject to be caught. That's just the nature of the beast. So we're just trying to continue to be proactive, let residents know of permit requirements. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Sorry, Anthony. Sorry,
Oh.
Ron Anthony's here. Okay, moving on, old business. Any old business to come before the board? Any no old business to come before the board, new business. Under new business, we've got the holiday hours for the, not the visitor center, but Village Hall. I imagine what they're looking for is the day before Thanksgiving.
No, it's more Christmas.
Okay.
It's because the holiday falls on, or the actual day falls on a Saturday. So do we take the Friday or do we take the Monday?
What's the federal deferred? If it's on a Saturday, it's a Friday.
Generally, that is the case, yes.
We would take Friday, the 24th,
Yes, especially because it's Christmas Eve.
and that's Christmas Eve. We have, then do they get half day off Thursday? The 23rd, the Christmas Eve.
I'd go the other way and maybe take Monday.
Give them a half day Christmas Eve and give them Monday off.
Yeah, I would go that way. Because Christmas is the Saturday, so it
Right.
gives them Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then Christmas Eve, they'd have half a day, which is that Friday. Yeah, I mean, with everything that happened this year, it might be a nice kind of thing to put out there.
Consensus,
We go for that.
go for that? Okay. Eugene, how do you think the staff would go for that?
I think they're gonna be fine no matter what we do. They just needed to know when we want it to be closed.
Okay. Well, Anthony's idea is that we give them the typical half day off for Christmas Eve. And then have Monday, the Christmas holiday itself, thus giving them basically a 4-day weekend.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Give
We
you
need a
time to
motion.
unwrap all your presents.
Yeah, time to buy it. Okay, we need a motion on the hours.
So I would motion that that the village hall and offices are closed at noon time on Friday, December 24th. And they would reopen on Tuesday, December the 28th, allowing the village offices to be closed for business on Monday, December 27th.
A second.
Moved by Moreno, seconded by Arnie to have Monday, the 27th as the official observation of the village holiday from the 25th.
Yes.
Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, motion so passes. Okay, any other new business to come before?
Are we gonna do New Year's Day on the Friday? Or New Year's, or in the day off for New Year's?
Oh, it's gonna be the same thing, yes. How do you want to treat New Year's?
I would, my thought on New Year's would just be to have off Friday the 31st. And then you have Saturday, Sunday, and we reopen on Monday, which would be January 3rd,
That makes sense.
and just have Friday the 31st off all day.
Okay, Friday, the 31st will be the observation of New Year's Day.
Yes,
Okay, on that motion then, let's get January, New Year's clarified too.
so the motion would be that the village office hall would be closed on Friday, December 31st in honor or in for the observance of the New Year's Day, and the village hall would reopen on Monday, January 3rd.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Moved by Pareno, seconded by Thorne for the New Year's Day observance to be observed by the Village Hall on Friday, December 31st. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? There being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, motion so passes. Okay, any other new business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Arnie, seconded by Moreno to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman,
Aye.
Mr. Prano,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes. We are adjourned. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday, one and all, and we'll see you back on the 6th of December.
Appreciate you coming over.
It's been a 30.
Yeah.
Actually, he never leaves. He just.
Yeah.